Watch how Dave Chappelle turns a sudden encounter with an armed stranger into one of the most genius and hilarious takes on fear and self-defense ever.
First gun I bought was a 12-gauge shotgun. I didn't want the gun. Remember, though, I'd moved to a farm, and I was sitting there on the porch, and I see a white dude walking across my property, entitled, like he's supposed to be there. He had a rifle over his shoulder, too. Ain't that a bitch? I said, what the f*** is this guy doing on my property? I was mad as shit, but I was unarmed. So I ended up just waving to this motherfucker like a bitch. I was just like... As soon as he got far enough away, I ran to my car and sped to Kmart. This is in a rural white area. And remember, I was nervous because the guy was on my property, I'm black, and I was sweaty. You know what I mean? And I ran to the gun counter, black and sweaty, sweating and black, and I looked up at the guy, I looked like a slave or something. I said, I need a gun, immediately. The guy didn't answer, no questions. He just grabbed a 12-gauge shotgun, handed it to me. I'd never even held a gun before. I'm not a dummy. I'm like, well, I need some bullets, too. And the guy reached under the counter, put 2 box of shells on the counter. He said, all right, buddy, which box do you want? I didn't know. One box had pictures of some ducks on it. The other box had pictures of some deer. I said, well, what's that box with them ducks? He said, oh, that there's birdshot. And then he goes just like this. I'm not exaggerating. He goes, that won't kill a man. He said, it'll just pepper him up nicely. I said, what the fuck? Pepper? I said, well, what's that box with the deer on it? He goes, oh, that there's buckshot. That'll put a hole in the goddamn truck if you wanted to. So which box do you want? And he picked the one with the deer up and shook it. I thought he was trying to trick me. I was like, do you have a box with a picture of a white dude trespassing on it? Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years, and this has 2 new cases. And if you haven't watched that documentary, then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's f***ing gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the anus. They said he stares at people's balls. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say, but I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? If somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? Dave, Michael Jackson was molesting children. Well, what were those kids wearing at the time? I don't think he did it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives.
Dave Chappelle tears into Trump's plan to bring Chinese jobs and coal to America, and you won't believe how he breaks it down.
All this motherfucker's ideas sound like high people ideas. Like he doesn't think these things through before he tells us. He just tells us what he's thinking as soon as it occurs to him. This shit was nuts. I'm gonna go to China and I'm gonna get those jobs from China and bring them back here to America. For what? So iPhones can be $9,000? Leave that job in China where it belongs. None of us want to work that hard. What is he thinking? I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make them. What the are you doing? Stop trying to give us Chinese jobs. I am going to bring back coal. Coal? I'm not even exaggerating. I have never in my life even seen a lump of coal. I honestly don't even know what coal is for. If you're gonna have digging around in the dirt looking for shit, find me some truffles. That's what I'm about. Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. To be honest with you, at that point, that was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That was mean as hell. She had already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that. It didn't feel bad voting for her, but it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. You understand, I'd still do it. Boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. When this nigga Trump and Elon made this Doge thing and cut all those government jobs, the housing market in my hometown plunged 20% in the first quarter. And I don't mean to talk like a white, but boy, they did that, didn't they? And then when this nigga deployed the National Guard in my hometown, took the police department from the mayor. Oh, DC niggas, we don't like that. But then my governor in Ohio sent our National Guard to police my hometown. And I called these niggas and said, I'm pulling up. Because these niggas is trying to take the chocolate out of Chocolate City. I said, I gotta go home while it's still a city I remember. And then I went on Instagram and saw all the protests in D.C. And there was a bunch of white people like, not on our streets. I said, oh no, it's too late. These whites are entrenched. Not on our goddamn streets, you don't. I went to the hotel room. I was by myself and I opened the door and my wife was in there alone. She was sobbing, like sobbing. I said, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Did you get attacked too? And she was crying. She said, oh my God, David. She said, if you had died tonight, me and the kids would have nothing. Then I knew it was serious. So I sat down on the bed next to her. And I reached in my pocket, I pulled some keys out that she had never seen before. She said, oh, what are those keys? And I gently placed them in her hands. I said, sweetheart, those are the keys to my safe deposit box. God forbid anything ever happen to me. But if it does, don't even worry about it. You and the kids have everything you need in that box. I've already taken care of it. And she was looking at them keys, and I could see her mind realize what we were actually talking about. And then she just started crying harder. And to be honest with you, that made me cry a little bit too. And we hugged each other real tight. Do you know this bitch looked in the box while I'm alive and well? Who does that? Oh my God. And then she was mad at me. She said, God, David, I opened that box. I said, you did? She said, yes, I did. And there was nothing in there. I said, nothing? Oh. She said, nothing except your stupid joke book. I said, whoosh. Well, sweetie, look. If you tell those jokes exactly how they're written, you and the kids should be fine. They're really good jokes. She's like, good jokes? What is this? Come join me in my watery grave. No, you got to roll your throat. Join me in my watery grave. Oh, boy. I've been married a long time. I have, man. You know, I talk a lot of shit about my wife, but I love her very much. In fact, you know, you guys wouldn't believe this about me. I'm a jealous husband. Now, listen, women get mad at me. Gay people get mad at me. Lesbians get mad at me. But I'm going to tell you right now, and this is true. These transgenders, these guys want me dead. I've gone too far. I've said too much. And I got to tell you, I'm very worried about it. I'm not even joking. Every time I come out on stage, I be scared. I be looking around the crowd, searching for Knuckles and Adam's apples to see where the threats might be coming from. And he came up to me on the street the other day. He said, careful, Dave, they after you. I said, what? One they or many theys? Before I even say anything about that community, you must know, and I hope you all feel the same way, I am not indifferent to the suffering of someone else. There's laws, the mean laws in our country. North Carolina passed a law once that said a person in North Carolina must use the restroom that corresponds with the gender they were assigned on their birth certificate. No. No, that's not a good law. That's a mean law. No American should have to present a birth certificate to take a shit at Walmart in Greensboro, North Carolina, where the baby shot and killed a motherfucker. This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution. I'm trying to get some sleep. It's not bad, right? All right, the next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You got to guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, duh, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life. And you can imagine when we read that shit, we was like, ooh, you lying ass bitch. It's the early 50s in the United States. A 14-year-old boy goes down Chicago to Mississippi to meet his extended family for the first time. He'd never been to Mississippi. And before he went, his mother said to him, very pointedly, she said, if a white man looks you in your eyes in Mississippi, look away. And I don't know what you know about black people from Chicago, but they're not a scared people. Legend has it, he was in front of a convenience store, hanging out with his cousins, having a good time, and a white woman walked out of the store, and he thought she was pretty, and he said, bye, baby, not realizing that he had just made a fatal mistake. 4 days later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmett Till. They found his body maybe a few days later. It was in a creek, tied to a wheel so it would sink, horribly beaten and bloated. And lucky for everybody in America, his mother was a fucking gangster. In the very midst of a mother's worst nightmare, this woman had the foresight to think about everybody. She said, leave my son's casket open. The world needs to see what they did to my baby. And every publication here in the United States, from Jet Magazine all the way to the New York Times, had this boy's horribly bloated body on its cover. And if our civil rights movement was a car, this boy's body was premium gas. This was a very definitive moment in American history where every thinking and feeling person was like, ugh, we got to do better than this. And the reason that I bring that up tonight and why it's relevant now is because less than a year ago, the woman that he allegedly whistled at admitted on her deathbed that she lied in her court testimony.
Watch how Dave Chappelle completely destroys Caitlyn Jenner.
Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Look at it like this. Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person. Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something? I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man. Gender is a fact. This is a fact. Every human being in this room, every human being on earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on earth. That is a fact. Now, I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that those pussies that they got, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not, but that's like beyond pussy or impossible pussy, you know what I mean? It tastes like pussy, but that's not quite what it is it? It's not blood, that's beet juice. I support the feminist movement, I do, in my own ways. When you guys did the Women's March, I tried to go and support you. And none of my friends would go with me. I asked all the fellas, none of them wanted to go. I tried everything. Come on, y'all, it's gonna be bitches there. They was like, nope. So what I did is I called my friend Ange. Ange is a black woman who's a comedy writer, and she's dope. Matter of fact, she's the only woman that I know personally that pays her ex-husband alimony. And she sounds just like a man when she does it. That broke motherfucker and all that. She says all that shit. So I hit Ange up. I hit her on the text. And all I did, I texted her. I said, Ange, are you going to the Women's March? And she texted me back, and this is a real text. She said, I hope those white just get tear gassed. They make you quarantine. I had to quarantine for 10 days at least. They said, you're gonna have to stay in the room. I didn't go nowhere. And it started making me nuts because I would just sit in the room and watch videos all day. Now, you know what I was watching? And I hate to say this, but there was a lot of videos, sadly, of black people beating up Asians for no reason. Oh, these attacks were unprovoked. I couldn't believe it. And I was sitting in the room watching this shit. It was stressing me out. I was stressed already because the whole time when you get coronavirus, at least the first 5 days, you wait, see how sick you're gonna get. And it turns out, and this is true, I didn't get sick at all. Not a cough, not a booger, not a fever, nothing. Look at me. I am the Magic Johnson of coronavirus. I just sat in the crib and got strong all week. But I was stressed because I kept watching these videos of my beloved black people beating up my beloved Asian people and being so cruel. And the whole time I watched those videos, this is f***ed up, but I couldn't help but feel like when I saw these brothers beating these Asians up, it's probably what's happening inside of my body. I shot it in San Francisco at a place called Broadway Studios, which is on the second floor of a building. And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the special was only supposed to be 30 minutes. And I got ready, I practiced, I did all the shit I was supposed to do. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30-minute set, music started blasting from the nightclub underneath. You could hear it real loud, and it fucked my whole show up, and I was devastated. I thought that my dream had been killed. So when I got off stage, I ran down the steps to the alley behind Broadway Studios, and I kicked that motherfucking door open, and I started yelling at all the producers. I was nobody in show business. I said, man, you f***ed everything up. That fucking music, what the f*** were you thinking? And there was a guy who was a big-time producer. He stood up. He said, hey, kid, sit the f*** down. We didn't ruin anything. We made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. I'll never forget it. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus by himself. And I didn't waste no time or ask no questions. I went to that Ford Taurus and I beat on that window and I said, open the door, motherfucker. I want to talk to you. And that old man looked at me for 1 second and wisely drove the fuck off. I've given this a lot of thought. I don't see any peaceful way to disarm America's whites. There's only one thing that's going to save this country from itself. Same thing that always saves this country from itself. And that is African Americans. And I know the question that a lot of y'all have in your minds is, should we do it? Yeah, we should do it. Listen, no matter what they say or how they make you feel, remember, this is your country too. It is incumbent upon us to save our country. And you know what we have to do. This is a fucking election year. We got to be serious. Every able-bodied African American must register for a legal firearm. That's the only way they'll change the law. I recently have a Twitter account. I typed my name in. They were like, you cannot use celebrity names. I was like, word? So then I see a fake Dave Chappelle. So I tried to look at his page, and, you know, I couldn't see it unless I was his friend. And then I clicked the thing. He has not accepted my friend request. And it turned out, Jimmy, the guy was like hilarious. I was like, yo, this guy's like, he's funny. And then he started having like all this fun, like girls were tweeting him all these sexy messages. I'm like, dang, who is this guy? And then, like a week or two into it, he just turns evil and starts like a whole Twitter beef with this guy, Cat Williams. You know Cat?
Absolutely, Cat Williams. Yeah.
So
fake Dave Chappelle starts to fight with Cat Williams? The real Cat Williams?
Right, well, that's the problem, that Cat Williams starts saying things to this fake Dave Chappelle that's hurting the real Dave Chappelle's feelings. So then, like, maybe like a couple weeks ago, I go to this, they have like this Def Jam comedy night thing on Sunset. So I go to the comedy show, and I see Kevin Hart there. I'm like, what's up, Kevin? And he's like, yo, man, Cat's here. Like I was in trouble or something. Like, what? So I said, well, where's he at? So then I go over to Cat, and I'm like, yo, Cat, man, I gotta talk to you. I don't have a Twitter page. And he's like, so what, Dave Chappelle? What are you trying to say? And I'm like, I'm trying to say I don't have a Twitter page. He goes, so that's not unusual. I don't have a Twitter page either. Network television, they have a department that's called Standards and Practices. This is the department that tells you what you can and cannot say on television. And if you're doing your job well, you should never hear from them. But if you're making a Chappelle show, you'll hear from these motherfuckers all the time. And remember, this is 15 years ago. I made a mistake. I didn't even know I had done anything wrong. I had written a sketch that had the word faggot in it. So I had to go to Standards and Practices. They call me up. I don't know why they're calling me, but I like the lady that runs the department. She's usually really fair, and was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So she sits me down. We have a nice conversation. She tells me, oh, the sketches are great. I go, oh, fantastic. Well, then why am I here? She said, because, David, there's no way that you can ever say the word faggot on our network. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I didn't try to defend myself. I said, all right, I'll take it out. Have a good afternoon. And as I was leaving, it occurred to me, hey, Renee, quick question. It's just a question. Seriously, I want to know, like, why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity, but I can't say the word faggot? And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either.
Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million.
People say that. He lost $50 million. That's not even close to what happened to this dude.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
I wasn't walking away from the money. I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau. It always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, they're trying to kill me.
Like, no, not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say I'm so free.
Dave Chappelle calls out Trump's Muslim ban with the kind of math you can't ignore, and the reality of it will shock you.
I've never seen somebody in an office so high with the most just basic solutions. Like, you know, we should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out, okay? There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your ass original ban. And since he brought it up, the other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch whites. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep the rest of the audience safe. It's a terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist. And most importantly, it would be catastrophic to my bottom line. If there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800.
This isn't just shock humor. It's Dave forcing us to confront the messy line between legacy and morality. Can someone do good and still be unforgivable? You decide. Is this brutal honesty or just brutal?
Let's not forget, I've never met Bill Cosby, so I'm not defending him. But let's just remember that he has a valuable legacy that I can't just throw away. I remember that he's the first black man to ever win an Emmy in television. I also remember that he's the first guy to make a cartoon with black characters where their lips and noses were drawn proportionally. I remember that he had a television show that got numbers equivalent to the Super Bowl every Thursday night. I've had a television show. I wouldn't have done that shit. Gave tens of millions of dollars to African-American institutions of higher learning and is directly responsible for thousands of black kids going to college. Not just the ones he raped. Here comes the kicker. You ready? Here's the fact that I heard but haven't confirmed. I heard that when Martin Luther King stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and said he had a dream, he was speaking into a PA system that Bill Cosby paid for. Do you understand what I'm saying? The point is this. He rapes, but he saves. And he saves more than he rapes, but he probably does rape.
This isn't just Dave joking about Trump, it's him exposing why millions still see Trump as real. He's not praising, he's revealing a truth politicians never admit. I'll break down why that moment mattered. But you tell me, was Trump being honest or just playing the crowd?
And I'm watching the news now, they're declaring the end of the Trump era. Now, okay, I can see how in New York you might believe this is the end of his era. I'm just being honest with you. I live in Ohio amongst the poor whites. A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it, because I hear it every day. He's very loved. And the reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. He's what I call an honest liar. That first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged," he said. And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." I said, "Now, wait a minute, bro. It's what he said." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, as you suggest, what would be your evidence?" Remember what he said, bro? He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God." And then he pulled out an Illuminati membership card and chopped a line of cocaine up and put it right into the podium. No one ever heard someone say something that true. And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, this man doesn't pay his taxes. He right back. That makes me smart. And then he said, if you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do. And with that, my friends, a star was born. No one had ever seen anything like that. No one had ever seen somebody come from inside of that house, outside, and tell all the commoners, we are doing everything that you think we are doing inside of that house. They just went right back in the house and started playing the game again. The Democrats were sore losers. I'm a Democrat, and I'm telling you, as soon as he won, they started saying all that he's colluding with Russia, he's colluding with Russia. It was very embarrassing as a Democrat, but as time went on, we all came to learn he was probably colluding with Russia. I even look at his wife different now. His wife is beautiful, no question about it, but she looks like the kind of chick that James Bond would smash but not trust.
This isn't just Dave clowning Kanye. It's a razor-sharp breakdown of how language, controversy, and culture collide. Chappelle shows why two simple words can shake the world. But here's the question. Is he exposing the truth or just daring us to laugh at it?
Before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms, and I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. I gotta tell you guys, I've probably been doing this 35 years now. And early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and Jews. I've never heard someone do good after they said that. Kanye's gotten into some scrapes before. Normally when he's in trouble, I pull up immediately. But this time I was like, you know what? Let me see what's going to happen first. I just want to see where this is all going. I can't even remember how it started. Vaguely, I remember it started with a tweet, strange tweet. It was like, I'm feeling a little sleepy. I'm going to give me some rest, but when I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews. And then he just went to bed. I was up all night worried. What is he going to do to the Jews? I grew up around Jewish people. I have a lot of Jewish friends, so I'm not freaked out by your culture. I know a little bit about it just from hanging around. I'd be like, yo, let's go out after school tomorrow. They'd be like, we can't go out. It's Shanana tomorrow. I'd be like, what is Shanana? I had so many questions. Why do some of your people dress like Run DMC? Kanye woke up from that net. We went right to work. A year ago, I'd seen him on a podcast called Drink Champs. Great show. And it was an amazing appearance. Noriega and them were there, the rappers that I love, and they all had their gold chains and stuff on. And Kanye said, only millionaires wear chains. They said, what? He said, I'm a billionaire. Billionaires don't wear their money on their body. I tucked my chain and I said, oh, snap. It was a good appearance. It was fun and funny. But when he woke up, he went on Drink Champs again. This time, he was on one. He was mad about something. He said, I can say anti-Semitic things, and Adidas can't drop me. Adidas dropped that immediately. Ironically, Adidas was founded by Nazis, and they were offended.
This isn't just about a stolen candy bar. It's a dark, ridiculous take on addiction, poverty, and what we choose to laugh at. Chappelle turned something disgusting into comedy gold, but should we be laughing at all?
And thanks for making a nigga feel comfortable in the gayest place on earth. You guys got Disney World jealous out this motherfucker. I didn't really think it was that gay at first. I was like, what is everybody? Because when I was coming out here, everyone was like, man, that place is really gay. I was like, what the fuck is everybody talking about? It's not so gay. And then I wandered into that Castro. God damn, I said, this is America's anus right here. This shit is deep. Went to that Tenderloin. There's nothing tender about that motherfucker at all. That shit was rough. The opposite of tender. I have never seen crack smoke so casually before. These niggas was sitting in front of Starbucks smoking crack and drinking coffee. I said, this is off the hook. Talking about politics. I seen one crackhead trying to break into somebody's car, man, and it struck a chord with me. I tried to stop him. I said, hey! And he looked back and saw me and said, oh, keep an eye out. I said, nigga, that was me that said that. I'm not trying to help you. I want this shit to stop. Crackheads are like that. I had a crackhead break my car window one time. Broke it! You know what he stole? Fucking candy bar I had lying on the seat. That's all he took. It's a goddamn candy bar. I was so mad. I drove around the neighborhood for 5 hours looking for a crackhead with chocolate on his face. I did that. I finally found when I grabbed that motherfucker. I said, hey, man, what's all this chocolate on your face, motherfucker? He looked confused. Chocolate? This is doo-doo, baby. I said, ah!
This isn't just a punchline, it's Dave Chappelle confronting who gets to live and who's left behind. It's a brutal, brilliant take on race, privilege, and the cost of being invisible. But here's the question, is this comedy or a warning?
Ebola was in Texas. Ebola made a visit to that man in Dallas. 5 days, that man melted to death. What happened to the brother in Dallas? Where was the secret serum, is what we all said. I remember in the beginning of Ebola, there were 2 American doctors that got sick in Africa. They flew them in a private jet straight to Atlanta to the CDC. I didn't even know CDC saw patients. There it was said they administered what the New York Times called a secret serum. I don't know what's in it. It's just like Colonel Sanders' recipe. But both of these motherfuckers survived. These doctors, thank God, are healthy. They are out there somewhere tonight at Whole Foods, touching vegetables, walking around. Everything's okay. Hey, Frank, how are you? Oh, you didn't hear? I had Ebola last week, but I'm doing all right now. I was bleeding out of my eyes and anus, so I got concerned, but I'm okay. What happened to the brother in Dallas? They just rubbed some Vicks on that nigga's chest. Good luck, little buddy. I knew he wasn't gonna make it. I saw in the New York Times, they said Ebola is the new AIDS. Whew. Isn't that something? Here I am thinking that old AIDS was working just fine, and they already have a new AIDS out. Isn't that amazing how they do that? Isn't it weird how there's a disease that just starts in 1980 and it doesn't kill anybody but niggas, fags, and junkies? Isn't that a fucking amazing coincidence that this disease hates everybody that old white people hate? I think either God is white or the government hid that shit in disco balls.
This isn't just a joke about stolen sandwiches. It's Dave Chappelle on marriage, weed, and how sons see their father as a legend, even when he's high and raiding the lunchbox. But does this say more about parenting or about how boys are wired? You decide.
We spend the most time together. Like, it's not that me and my wife don't spend time together, but we've been married so long, it's like we don't talk. Like, I don't know if anyone's married here, but if after 10 years, all that chatty shit goes away. You've said it all. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, we're just in the zone. She says the same shit to me every night before she goes to bed. I'll be the last one up. She's like, I'm gonna get some sleep, Dave. Good night. All right, babe, we'll stay up and watch television. Good night. And she'll walk halfway up the steps. David? Huh? Don't eat the kids' lunch. And then she walks away. Well, the crazy shit is I don't even eat their lunch anymore. Back in the day, I used to eat that shit. You know how that goes. I might smoke some weed in the middle of the night and she'll leave neatly wrapped sandwiches all over the kitchen. I'm gonna eat it. What's the big deal? Why can't she just make another one in the morning? I mean, it's like, I got sons anyway. And sons love everything their dads do. My kids would be at school the next day, just look like, oh, Dad bit my sandwich. Oh, shit. Their dad is Dave Chappelle, man. You could trade that sandwich for something better. What I'm doing is adding value to their lunch.
This joke isn't just about ditching Flint. It's Dave exposing how fame can twist loyalty, blur values, and trigger public judgment. Would you have stood your ground or folded too?
I'm happy really to see black people come. You know, a lot of black people don't fuck with me like they used to. But there's a lot of reasons. There's a few reasons you don't see black people at my shows. One is because obviously black people have slower internet connections. I mean, that would be my guess. I don't know what. Actually, my own actions drew a wedge between me and the community I hold so dear. A couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to be in Flint, Michigan for a charity benefit that was supposed to raise awareness for the appalling condition of the water in Flint. I don't know if you know this, but the water in Flint is fucking poisonous. It's actually making people sick. I mean, Hollywood people like, so what? At least they have water. But this water's fucked up. So a lot of black celebrities flew into Flint, and they did a tremendous charity benefit. And I was on the schedule to appear. So the reason a lot of people haven't heard about this benefit, it was the same day as the Oscars. I was on my way to the airport to go to Flint, and then Chris Rock calls me and is like, hey, Dave, I got a ticket for you for the Oscars. Can you make it? And I was like, sure, I'm on my way to the airport right now. Oh, come on, man. What am I going to do about that water? What am I, a fucking superhero? I need to have fun. I need to live, too. I didn't fuck that water up. Stevie Wonder was there. They didn't need me. I've never been to the Oscars. You've seen the movies I make. I was excited as fuck. I knew I was going to get in some trouble because when I was walking in the red carpet, the black press came after me. Excuse me, brother. When you hear somebody call you brother too much, something terrible's about to happen. Excuse me, brother. And then I looked back, and the motherfucker had a tuxedo with the kente cloth tie. I said, uh-oh. He said, I just want to ask you a couple questions. I said, well, what publication are you with? He said, me, I'm with the Daily Bongo. I said, Daily Bongo? What the fuck? Who the fuck reads this? He said, listen, brother, I just want to ask you a quick question. You understand that this year, this is a boycott for the Oscars. So I'm just wondering what made you, of all people, cross the motherfucking picket line and be here tonight. I said, boycott? I haven't been working in 10 years. What do you mean boycott? I've been on strike. Y'all niggas didn't stop working. I had to watch fucking Key and Peele do my show every night.
This is Dave turning a bad dad moment into the coldest joke about parenting you'll ever hear.
He's a cold motherfucker. Let me tell you, this kid is only 16 years old. Listen to what he did to me. This motherfucker calls me up in the middle of the night. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. He goes, Dad, don't be mad. I knew something was terribly wrong. I said, what's going on? He said, listen, I'm fine. And don't forget, you told me to do this. I'm at a party, and my designated driver had too much to drink. And me and my friends need you to come pick us up. I said, Jesus Christ, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I am faced. But I figured it's better me than some kid. I might as well roll the dice and go pick my up. I said, all right, I'm coming to get you. Just give me the address and I'll be right there. And then he gave me the address and I was shocked. I said, son, you are not gonna believe this, but I'm at the same party.
This isn't just a joke about lesbians and private school politics. It's a deeper shot at performative tolerance, social tension, and who's actually allowed to laugh. Dave pushes the line, but is he pointing out hypocrisy or just poking the bear?
I got one son that goes to a public school, and his little brother goes to a private school. It's an experiment. I just want to see what's going to happen to him. But what's weird is my little son in private school, he's like my thuggy son, you know what I mean? I don't know where he get that from. He's not getting it from me, and he's definitely not getting it from that school. That school is it's a liberal school. It's the kind of school, there might be like 12 black students in the entire school, and I'm the only black parent. And none of the parents like me either. Not because I'm black, but just like they don't like how I roll, because I be showing up late all the time, and I'm like, in a Porsche and a blasting music that they don't like. You know, the music be like, I'll beat the pussy up. And I pull into the parking lot. I might be smoking a cigarette with the kids in the car. Then I pull into like that handicap space. And then when I get out of the handicap space, they always want to say some passive aggressive shit. Morning, Dave. Don't know if you noticed, but you actually parked in the handicap space. Huh? Yeah, you know what, Frank? I did notice. But who is this handicap guy we're all waiting on that never shows up? So I hate going over to that school. The only parents that are nice to me is lesbian couple, Kate and Sarah. Actually, Kate hates my guts. Sarah knows that I'm black and she's half black, so she just understands me. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain it. Because I'll say shit and Kate's just too serious about being a lesbian. I'll be like, hey, Kate, hey, Sarah, you guys going to do the father-son picnic next week? How's that going to work? And Kate will instantly be furious. But Sarah knows I'm fucking around, so she'll just say something cool. I don't know, Dave. Maybe me and Kate will flip for that shit. I said, she better save that coin toss because everybody knows he's strapping on in that household. And then Kate will turn bright red, but Sarah just fist bump me like, you right, nigga? It's me. Bop.
This story isn't just funny. It's Dave Chappelle wrestling with violence, parenting, and how honesty can go hilariously wrong. But here's the twist. Is his son's brutal logic a sign of bad parenting or perfect parenting?
So imagine my surprise when I go to pick my son up and the teacher is waiting outside for me. She's just standing right there in the middle of the fucking handicap space. I knew something was wrong, so I rolled the window down like, hey, what's going on? Hi, David, can we talk to you for a minute in the office? I said, no, fuck that, we gotta talk right here. What's going on? I knew it was bad. Ibrahim had a fight. I said, a fight? Don't worry, everyone's okay. I said, everyone? What happened? Well, that's it. We don't know what happened because he won't talk to anybody. All we know is that he punched Sarah Jr. in the face. I said, oh no. Sarah's one of the only parents I'm not sure I can beat up in this school. Just then, Kate and Sarah pulled up to pick up their daughter. And then we all had to go into the office. And I was really worried because I didn't want them to kick me out of the school. And then they brought my son in, he was crying. They brought him in like a prisoner. He was like, oh. I said, son, just stop crying, calm down. Do not look at these mean faces. I need you to look at my face, and I need you to tell me the truth, buddy, all right? Just tell me the truth. Is it true? Did you punch that girl, Sarah Jr., in the face? I was trying to give him a signal to lie, but he didn't pick up on it. I was like... He wasn't paying attention. He said, yes, Daddy, I punched her face. I said, oh, my God. Why? Why would you do that? You're not supposed to put your hands on anybody. And his answer was so gangster, it scared all the parents in the room. He was like, because she had it coming. I said,
This is how Dave Chappelle turns getting left out of Diddy's wild parties into pure comedy, exposing the paranoia and self-doubt behind the joke.
Did you know anything about those golf parties? I'd be like, nah, man, I didn't know anything about golf. And they all look at me like, and they be like, well, how all these people you know was at golf, but you're the only one that wasn't at golf. And I thought about it for a minute. I said, oh my God, I'm ugly. That's a tough way to find that out. Can you imagine if you were me reading the newspaper and found out everyone in Hollywood had an orgy behind your back? Like none of y'all called me? Well, that really hurts. I'm glad they didn't call me though, because the stories that come out about it are crazy. I saw one thing on the internet, so I'm not sure this is true. Probably doubt it's true. But I saw it. Some guy who said he knew Puff was like, yeah, man. He's like, I was at the golf one time and I went in the back room and Puff was in there with Carl Winslow, with Dad from Family Matters. He was smashing. And I was like, Puff, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, it feels good to make another man do your bidding. And I was like, oh my God. Carl Winslow from Family Matters was there and I wasn't invited? It's worse than I thought. Or maybe I'm not ugly. Look at my face. This is not necessarily a handsome face, but it's not an ugly face. But if you really study my face clearly, I have snitch energy. Oh, I look like I'll tell. The last thing you want to see the orgy is me across the room looking at you like, you watching at home, you might not be famous, but I bet you ain't perfect. Nobody is perfect. The idea is, as you live your life, you're supposed to evolve and grow past your mistakes. But if you get to be 55, and Puff is 55. He doesn't look old, but he's paying half price at the movies. Ain't nothing wrong getting older, but if you 55 and you got 1,000 bottles of baby oil in the house, clearly, can't stop, won't stop. Because I'm 51, and I'm telling you, this is true. I can't remember a single time I ever threw an empty bottle of baby oil in the trash. I don't think I've ever finished a bottle of baby oil in my life. If we went to my mother's house tonight, she probably got the same baby oil we had when I was a little boy with the pink top, and somehow Puffy was all the way down to the last.